Cool, brother. Thank you so much for that. Can we get another fucking round of applause for that? That was amazing. One of the things that Huey Newton says in this letter that's issued on his birthday is he says, it's great that we all came together for my birthday, but we should never miss an opportunity to come together in revolutionary solidarity. So in that spirit, thank you all for being here. And it's like, I think there's something really amazing about creating beauty in front of such an ugly fucking building that stands for something so fucking ugly. So thank you again, Ken. You fucking killed it, brother. Cool. So before we get into the open mic, we have a land acknowledgement that was coordinated by an indigenous woman of this land. Her name is Charlie, or is still, and with that, I'm going to let them take it away.
My name is Pulaski Still. I'm from the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. I'm of many tribes of the Nichiwanas, the big rivers, and my people resided here for, you know, centuries and centuries and centuries. And so, but I feel strongly that land acknowledgements should be done by white folks, because we already know this is our land. We need you to acknowledge it's our land. So I'm going to have my friend who is a white male do a land acknowledgement that's more meaningful than any land acknowledgement you have ever heard. And so we have it on a recording because he couldn't be here today. And then I'm going to give you some words around homelessness from a Native perspective. So hang on.
Hate white supremacy and to build local power, to intervene in violence inflicted on black communities by the state, by our fellow citizens, and by us when we are complicit in this settler colonial white supremacist state. Thank you for being here to support the fight to end colonization of occupied indigenous territory and to get indigenous land back into indigenous hands. And as I mentioned here, and that this entire country is unjustly stolen land, I want to acknowledge and uplift the fact that we're on traditional, rightful, unceded lands of Tualatin, Kalapuya, Malala, Shasta, Umpqua, Wasco, Cowlitz, Kaplamit, Rogue River, Chinook, and Tillamook peoples, and many other peoples of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde. We absolutely do not want to stop at that acknowledging and uplifting, though. Charlie and I were having a meeting yesterday about creating means through which colonizers can pay reparations to the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and work on reconciliation with indigenous communities. We were saying that this kind of action needs to go along with every land acknowledgement. Far too many people think a land, labor, and people acknowledgement is an anti-racist action on its own. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be, but only when it is tied to commitment to action. If it is an isolated performance, it's just another settler attempt to feel innocent and off the hook for our role in supporting a system which has stolen billions of acres of land and dozens of millions of lives. And those of you who have heard me before know that it's this desire to have us remember the millions and millions of black and indigenous lives that were stolen in order for us to be here today, and the millions and more lives that were impacted by that theft and murder, which leads me to make a land, labor, and people acknowledgement rather than just a land acknowledgement. So as I mention people, and I encourage us all to take more action, I want to acknowledge and honor somebody who has been a model for me in taking action. Our fallen and beloved comrade, T-Rex. For those who don't know, T-Rex was murdered because of her desire to fight white supremacy, because of her desire to center and uplift black, indigenous, and POC lives, and because of her desire to protect those doing the same. T-Rex, I miss you, I love you, and I want to thank you for everything you did to support BIPOC lives. And as I've been mourning T's murder, I've been wanting to keep her legacy alive. From the time I first met her while planning for a march in honor of Breonna Taylor just about a year ago, it was clear to me that T-Rex was fueled by care, by love, by zero tolerance for bullshit, and an unbelievable thirst for justice. Even more uniquely, she was a white person willing to show courage in the face of white supremacy and to remember to always center black lives, indigenous lives, and POC lives. So I'm putting all of us clueless white liberals, appropriators, and white saviors on notice. We need to be like T. We need to do better. We need to remember that racism, poverty, police brutality, state violence, houselessness, and environmental injustice do not take a break. And we need to continue to be out here in the streets fighting against them. We need to remember that Black Lives Matter, Land Back, Justice for Patrick Kimmons, and all the organizations we're out here for are about centering black lives, indigenous lives, and POC lives. So when we're picketing, when we're marching, when we're corking, when we're protesting, our white feelings don't fucking matter. Our priority is liberation for BIPOC folks, and decentering ourselves is a necessary step for that. So again, let's go out and dismantle, disrupt, and fuck up white supremacy in any way we can. Black Lives Matter, Land Back, JFPK, and fuck 12!
This on. I told you. Anyway, that's Mo Levine. He gives some amazing land acknowledgments. And like I said, white people should be doing those. Anyway, so Saturday, February 19th, I was with my friend and comrade T-Rex. We had just finished chatting while we waited to prepare to what we call cork the protest, which is what we protect the protesters. We surround them with our vehicles. And just minutes before she was cold-bloodedly murdered by white supremacy, we were talking, and the last thing she was able to say to me was she looked at me, and because of the conversation we were having, and she told me, I love you, East Hillsdale. And that's how we all feel about each other in this fight. We become very close and very loving and very supportive, and we have each other's back. We keep us safe, and we keep these protesters safe. Yeah, so, you know, fuck 12, and yeah, fuck 12. So I'm gonna say something from a Native perspective because I really can't put two words together to try to write something profound for you guys today. So this is from the Red Deal. The Red Deal. The indigenous way of how we're going to save this earth. So, oh, I need my glasses. Hold on. Oh, don't forget, fuck Ted Wheeler.
Fuck Ted Wheeler.
Come on.
So my sound guys tell me the closer you get to the mic, the less feedback we're going to have.
Okay.
If you get closer, you can turn it down a little bit, and that'll reduce the feedback.
You want to be like if you're going to eat it, like for me, let's be like.
Okay, all right. So, talk about sweeps, right? We are from one of the largest sweeps in the history of the world here in America, KKKA, right? the indigenous folks, where they tucked us away in these horrific environments where we were out of sight and out of mind, so that hopefully we would just rot away. And they're still doing that today, right, with our homeless. Let's just tuck them away where they can't hurt people's eyes, and comfort, because comfort is so fucking important to everybody who doesn't want to be a part of this solution of helping these humans that are worthy of having homes, at the very fucking least. Anyway, all right, from the Red Deal. Therefore, we must move to organize unsheltered relatives into communities capable of defending themselves from settler violence, because that's what this is. It's another form of violence because they're being left out there to fucking die.
That's right.
And to directly advocate for their safety and well-being. You know, if more of us humans would consider the safety and well-being of your fellow humans, you know, we wouldn't be in this predicament. You know, if the police's priority was the safety and well-being of their fellow human beings, you know, we wouldn't be in this. If we were over-resourced instead of over-policed, you know, we wouldn't be in this mess. We all have a responsibility for this. Not somebody else, not just us. All of you, your neighbors, everybody, every single fucking day, you should be doing something about this. And not looking the other way, and not worrying about your picket fence and your groomed lawns. Okay, it just disappeared. Hold on. Son of a bitch. All right. So, all right, settler colonial violence, right? Creating spaces explicitly open to unsheltered people, and then this it says Native people, but you know, here we are, who have been displaced from their homelands. We must ensure our unsheltered relatives are involved in the organizing we do for climate and economic justice. Housing for all. Housing for all, right? All right. Healthcare and anything that will impact them. Anything. Similarly, we urge everyone to organize. Organize with unsheltered people against anti-poor and anti-homeless. Can you believe those? What I'm saying? Fuck. And anti-homeless laws. That trespassing, restrictions on panhandling, sleeping in public, and others that criminalize poverty and homelessness. What kind of society are we when we let our own suffer and die like this? What the hell does that say about us? We've been, you know, whitewashed in this white supremacy, colonialism, capitalistic, you know, the list goes on. And this is proof of all these people sleeping in the streets today. This is a sign of the failure of this fucking country.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So,
that's right.
Now I'm calling you out. Just like my friend Mo, you know. This isn't just a one-time thing. This isn't just one rally. This isn't one sign in your yard. This is an every single day responsibility. So let's see you out there. And thank you for being here. And again, fuck 12, fuck Ted Wheeler, fuck
12, fuck Ted Wheeler!
Cool, thank you, Charlie. Can I get a round of applause for that loud acknowledgement, please? That was fucking incredible. Oh. Ooh. been a heavy fucking month, y'all. So in that spirit, we are going to open up the microphone to anybody with things to say. The opinions of people reflected are not endorsed by any of the other groups or people here. You should take each individual speaker for their group as assumed to be speaking for themselves and their group and nobody else. Valerie, yeah, we have a formerly houseless woman who is up next, and then after that we're going to open up the mic. We're going to try real hard to keep it to 5 minutes. I'm going to wave at you when you're getting close. When I go like 5 and like that, it's about time to wrap it up in a sentence or two. Before I open up the mic, can we get like a general, like, yeah, I consent to this? Like, yeah, that sounds good? Okay, cool. Cool, so I appreciate that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Valerie, who can fucking speak for herself far better than I can. So give it up for Valerie, y'all.
Okay. So I fell homeless between 1996 and wasn't rehoused until 2006. And for 5 of the years within those 8 years, I was literally what I call shopping cart homeless, like between 2 carts with a blue tarp in the Mission District in San Francisco. And my story fits within, you know, the narrative that the status quo tries to spin about everybody that's homeless. I ended up homeless because I had a savage addiction to heroin. But right now in the United States, like in 1996, there were not, if you were homeless, you had to go out to Forest Park and hide to sleep outside. So last night I looked up some stats, and the federal poverty guideline for one person is $13,590 a year. Here in Oregon, the guideline is I lost it. Basically, it's like it's twice what the federal poverty guideline is. And making minimum wage here in Oregon puts people over the Oregon state guideline to get benefits by $13 fucking dollars. If you work at $13 an hour, a 40-hour-a-week job, you're gonna make $2,160. The average fucking rent in the Pearl is $2,011, and in Old Town 2008. So that's like you're spending every cent you're making in a full-time job just to pay your rent. So no wonder people are out there like this. You have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to survive. You know, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs of getting shelter, food, water, clothing, housing. You should not have to work 40 hours a week just to be housed. How are you supposed to take care of all your other things? And then once you're out there, how do you get back? And because I was a drug addict, I could go to treatment. People who are out there because they can't do anything but pay their rent. When you're living in a doorway, how do you have hygiene to go to a job interview? How does a job call you for a second interview? How do you get to the interview on time when you're living in a fucking doorway? So, you know, they just raised the minimum wage in July here to 13 something, but that's the number I gave you, so that's not going to help anybody. Anyways, that's all I have. It's.
Ooh-wee. Can we give it fucking up again for Valerie? Goddamn. I'll figure it out. No, it's that one. Okay. Cool. Should not be trusted to handle my own microphone.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Cool. Thank you, Zayd. Cool. So before we open up the mic, I just want to shout out to all of the homies from the different distribution groups who have brought supplies for houses, neighbors, and folks in need. On your way out, if there is still stuff left and you know folks in your community who might need that and you want to grab stuff to give to them, please definitely do. Because I know there is a lot more need than just right here downtown in Terry Trump Plaza. You know what I mean? Like, there is need all over the city. So go say hi to the nice folks back there. Cool. So I know there are a bunch of different groups here, and I know there are a bunch of different people here and housing justice advocates. Is there anybody who wants to get up here and speak or say anything for 5 minutes? Again, we are trying. Boom. Richard?
Yeah.
Cool. Up first is Richard. Everybody give him a fucking round of applause.
Go for it. Take your time. Hold on. You do whatever you want.
Hey folks, do you mind if I take my mask off? Hey folks, how are you today in Portland, Oregon? Folks, you know, the last time I voted was probably in 2008. I don't vote anymore. You know, I stand with solidarity with the people. Folks, you know, I'm really fucking mad at all these, at these complacent white liberals. They fucking make me mad! They make me fucking mad as hell! They believe because they elected Brinkley Joe, that fucking old white warmonger crow, they think they've solved racism. No! You did not solve racism by electing a Democrat, you fucking idiots! Racism always lives no matter who's in the White House. It's all part of capital fascist bullshit! The Native American people and color had no choice, no say over Democrat and Republican. It's all stolen land. Folks, I don't understand. I'm 50 years old. Do I have to live another 50 years before fucking people wake up and finally take things back like we did back in 2020, or we have to wait another 7-8 years before another Republican gets elected for people to start wake up? No, we don't need Biden and all the Democrats and all the sellout tokens. We need people to come together and fight these white nationalists and all, the Democrats, people like Biden. We are the power of the people. When we got together in 2020, we need more. Tell your friends, get off their ass. Tell the white liberals to get off their fucking ass and quit burying their fucking heads in the sand.
Ooh-wee, fucking spitting fire. Cool, thank you, Richard. And yeah, I think that is a classic. I think he is absolutely correct. Like, we have 5 Democrats in office, and look at how fucking Ted Wheeler treats the houseless people here. Can I get a fuck Ted Wheeler? Fuck Ted Wheeler! Fuck Ted Wheeler! Oh, shit. Cool. Does anybody have things they want to say? Anybody from an organization? Anybody who's formerly houseless? The mic is yours. I see people moving and it gets me excited that they're walking up here, but they're not. We also have a guitar if anybody wants to do a song.
Or a poem.
Or a poem. Yeah. Cool. Up next is Captain Kent Ford of the Black Panther Party of Portland. Yeah, he's been an OG here fighting against police brutality for a long time. The most successful revolutionary movement in the United States in the last 60 years is the fucking Black Panther Party. So if you don't know the things that Huey Newton and Bobby Seale and Assata Shakur and Kathy Cleaver and Erica Huggins thought, y'all should fucking know. But you don't have to take it from me. Here's a guy who's way smarter than me. Fucking Cappy 10-4, everybody.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today and just keep hanging in there, and got a few things I want to read here, take it back 50 years and bring us up to speed on things, and it's kind of stay in the game, and it ain't over till it's over. Everything go around, come around. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, power to the people, Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter! Power to the people.
It's good to be with you today. Homelessness has changed a lot in Portland over the years. Tell stories about, today I want to tell you some stories about back in the day, over in the northeast Portland, right by Emmanuel Hospital. It's called the Albino District. And back in those days, I want to say this, if we had to fix it then, we wouldn't have to be worried about fixing it now, but nobody cared. It's just like today, and the guys, everybody knew who had kind of slipped through the cracks. We would go get them and bring them down to give them checks up at the Fred Hampton's People's Health Clinic. We would take them up to the place, we'd get them a place to stay, get them shelter, food, clothing, shelter. See, they got the help them file for the Social Security. If they needed treatment, we seen that they got treatment. If they needed housing, we seen that they got that. But again, everybody knew, the word got out, who was out there, and we would approach them just like a park like this. And we would take them up to get the treatment that they needed. But let me finish reading this. And so today, homelessness is not a total different level. It's a humanitarian crisis in plain sight. And it's a clear and obvious indictment of the capitalist system as well.
That's right.
The one thing that has stayed the same is that homelessness was a racial justice issue back in the day, and it's a racial justice issue today. If you didn't realize that, then Allen is only half stepping. Today in Multnomah County, Black people are more than 2.5 times overrepresented among the homelessness. Native Americans are more than 8 times overrepresented. Homelessness is a racial justice issue. Thank goodness for all the amazing mutual aid groups that have stepped up to the moment to help our unhoused brothers and sisters. My hat is off to all you guys, that's helping out. In addition to just this week, a diverse group of housing advocates launched and they called the 3,000 Challenge. That aim is moving 3,000 unhoused Portland into housing by the end of 2022. This is a creative and humane response to the horrifying idea flown by the mayor's office, the guy right across the street here, you guys. We all know that, and that is to force people experiencing homelessness to Portland off the streets and into 1,000-person shelters. The 3,000 Challenge is something we need to get behind. Let's get creative, let's get busy, and let's get it done. The homeless crisis is a direct result of ruthlessness, large, late-stage capitalism. Housing is a human right. Let's treat it like one. Let's keep up the fight. I want to say, again, thank everybody for coming out today, and let's stay in the game, and it's a marathon, you guys. It's not a sprint. Let's keep floating like butterflies and keep stinging like bees. Power to the people and Black Lives Matter.
Cool. Thank you so much, Captain Ford. Wow, that was beautiful. Okay, cool. Up next, we have a speaker from Demilitarized Portland to Palestine. Can I get a free Palestine? Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
All right, thank you so much, everyone. So yeah, my name is Henna. I'm a member of the Demilitarized Portland to Palestine Coalition, and I'm here to share about our campaigns and we're engaging in and how we see the connections between our liberations of ending state violence from Portland to Palestine. We are an alliance of organizations in Portland who work towards ending Portland's multifaceted relationships with companies and state entities that participate in the militarized occupation and ethnic cleansing in Palestine. We must end the state violence and police militarization in the struggle for the liberation of all oppressed people from Portland to Palestine. Our major campaigns focus on ending the deadly exchange between Portland's Police Bureau and the Israeli occupation force, the Oregon State Treasury investing in the Israeli spyware firm NSO, and demanding that the city not renew its $5 million contract with the private security force G4S. The deadly exchange describes the cross-training of U.S. police departments with both the Israeli Defense Force and the Israeli National Police, who specialize in the racial profiling of Palestinians, their surveillance and violent suppression of their struggle for freedom and human rights. In September of 2018, former Portland Police Bureau Chief Danielle Outlaw accepted an invitation and attended a counterterrorism conference in the occupation state. While Chief Outlaw announced afterwards that she would not entertain any invitations based on what she witnessed in person, no commitment has been made by the Bureau or the city for the future. The NSO Group is an Israeli cyber intelligence company that develops spyware used by totalitarian and fascist regimes to monitor social justice activists and all political dissidents. The spyware has been found on thousands of personal communications devices and is a major violation of personal security and freedom of expression. Additionally, the spyware has been developed, tested, and perfected by the occupation state of Israel by use on Palestinians, the entire population, which are viewed as enemies and terrorists. Lastly, G4S is the biggest security contractor in the world. G4S was formerly tasked with the operation of Israeli prisons, which are infamous for their inhumane treatment of Palestinian prisoners who make up a disproportionately large percentage of detainees. While their prison contracts have ended, G4S was commissioned to build the National Police Academy of the occupation state, which is the training site of the National Police, who enact racial profiling and harassment of the Palestinian people in occupied Palestine. G4S has also been contracted to staff illegal checkpoints that the occupation state uses to control, prevent the movement of, and detain Palestinians. The city of Portland contracted with G4S to provide security for city-owned buildings beginning in the 2000s. It has renewed these contracts 3 times, most recently signing a 5-year contract worth $5 million in 2019. Boo! Despite community protests that called attention to the company's role in human rights violations. In addition, TriMet contracted with G4S to provide security at rail yards and at MAX stations. The Demilitarized Portland to Palestine Coalition extends its solidarity and support for this event and its organizers. We recognize how houselessness is the result and perpetuated by dispossession caused by the state and private interests. Moreover, we recognize that security apparatuses, both city police and contracted security, function to harass and further marginalize the houseless population. Surveillance is also inherently an injustice laid upon the houseless population and used to identify communities and their resources for removal or destruction. These shared plights with the people of Palestine and their resistance is a point of unity. We stand together against our profiling, the surveillance of our communities, and the dispossession of our communities. Help us by demanding that the City of Portland end its state violence from Portland to Palestine. City of Portland, stop funding violence locally and internationally and let the people's demands be heard. To invest in the community, invest in housing. We have a petition back there at the table to echo our demands to Portland City Council to not renew its $5 million contract and to continue to look at investing in what the people are demanding. Thank you so much. A free Palestine from Portland to Palestine.
That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. So, got a line forming over here if anybody has things they want to say. Okay, yeah, do you want to go next? You want to go first? Cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay. Cool. So up next is an individual named Kai, who is here to talk about eviction defense and fucking housing justice. Everybody give it up for Kai.
Hi everybody, Kai, he, him. Can everybody hear me? I think I'm using, okay, great. So in last year, my landlord needed to no cause evicted myself and my partner. And like, fortunately we benefited from the Portland Housing Bureau like relocation assistance. But even with that, like our landlord like didn't understand any of the law. They were like trying to get us, it was rented out a duplex and they tried to get us and our neighbors to decide which one was gonna leave. And like, they were like pressuring us and like, I remember my partner being like, hey, like, I'm unemployed, the pandemic, and the landlord was like telling us like, oh, well, you gotta think about me. I'm in a really tough spot. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to get you out as soon as possible. Now, like, fortunately we had groups, like, I'm a member of Don't Evict. I joined them to do court watch. And so they were able to help me and other groups like Community Alliance of Tenants to help connect me to some lawyers and stuff like that. And I just realized I had like a glimpse of what maybe folks who are houseless, I'm currently not facing houselessness or houselessness, go through. Like, we had resources and things to help move, and obviously there was a law that helped us, forced the landlord to pay some expenses to get us to move. But some folks, like other folks, don't have that. And so I really like the work of Don't Evict, and why I continue to be a part of their group is because like, we're trying to prevent evictions. We're helping people with first appearances, and make sure that tenants don't feel like they have to cave into the landlord's demands. That's something, I don't know if other folks may come from the court watch team, but we're seeing so many people, the landlords and their lawyers are just strom-arming people, and just people don't even know that they have rights and that they can fight eviction. And so I'm really glad the work that Don't Evict's doing. Other than that, yeah, sweeps are evictions. I mean, it's just like us, like we had to move our stuff and all, like, you know, we had friends helping us, but all the physical load of like carrying your stuff, putting it in the car, moving it, reorganizing, resettling somewhere. I can't imagine doing that without that. And then with like, I feel like the city and then your neighbors are against people who are facing sweeps, or they want it to happen. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but just to say, like, if you were struggling like with eviction, you know, I think reach out to Don't Evict. They can help people. And also I think one thing what Don't Evict is trying to do, which is great, is like organizing tenants unions and collectives to make sure that tenants can rebalance the power. And then maybe one day Portland has a bunch of tenants unions that then they can work together, like the LA Tenants Union, to where they can start rewriting some of these laws and hell, maybe get rid of private property or get housing as an investment and, you know, land back everything. So anyways, kind of just rambling at this point, but yeah, thanks for what you all do.
Cool, give it up for Kai, y'all. That was fucking beautiful. Cool, up next we got some music, but just like in the spirit of the things that Kai says, like I want to quote something that Kwame Ture talked about. You probably know him better as Stokely Carmichael. He was the founder of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee before he be radicalized. Founded the All African People's Revolutionary Party, and really changed his whole perspective. And one of the things that he talks about, like, is the need to be, the difference between being organized and mobilized. So I'm sure y'all remember back in July when we had 10,000 people out here mobilized. And you notice out here, there's maybe 100, 200 people, right? And that's the difference between being mobilized and organized. Once you're mobilized, you have to find an organization. And I am not up here right now to plug mine. I'm here to plug all of the organized people in this city fucking doing work. Because there are people doing food justice, like the Free Lunch Collective. There are people doing hotel stuff, like the Sweaty Butt Crack Collective, making sure folks aren't sleeping outside in the fucking winter. You know what I mean? There's Stop the Sweeps who show up and try to make sure that, like, houseless folks and houseless camps don't get fucking destroyed. Like, there are a lot of good groups and there are a lot of people doing incredible work. If you want to make a difference, you cannot just be mobilized, you have to be organized as well. Don't take it from me, take it from Kwame Ture, who's a lot smarter than I was. Anyway, so without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Jen, who's going to play a couple songs for us. She is with Bellagram Telegram, so everybody give it up for fucking Jen.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up today. Yes, Brian was saying I'm with Bellagram Telegram. It's my singing telegram service. I'm also with PHP, People's Housing Project. And so Brian is one of my comrades, as well as Dave and Dan and Mimi, who I don't think is here today. But and so we're just trying to provide shelters to houseless folks, specifically up at, in St. John's. And but song is my way of healing myself and others. And I'm also originally from Italy, and when I started to learn Italian songs, this one was one of the first ones I learned, which I feel is appropriate for today. Una mattina mi son svegliato. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi son svegliato e ho trovato l'invaso. One fine morning I woke up early. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. One fine morning I woke up early to find the fascists at my door. Oh partigiano, portami via. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. Antifascista, please take me with you. Oh bella ciao, goodbye beautiful. Antifascista, please take me with you. And I'm not afraid anymore. E se io muoio, partigiano. Oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Se io muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi seppellire. And if I die antifascista, oh bella ciao, goodbye beautiful. Bury me upon that mountain, beneath the shadow of a flower. Tutta la gente che passeranno, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 tutta la gente che passeranno mi diranno che bel fiore. Show all the people passing. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Show all the people passing, and say, oh, what a beautiful flower. E questo è il fiore da partigiano. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Questo è il fiore da partigiano, morto per la libertà. This is the flower of the partisan. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the anti-fascists who died for freedom. E questo è il fiore da partigiano, morto per la libertà. Grazie. Sorry, that was a little loud. And I've got one more little song, written by a duo team called Mumuse, called We Shall Be Known. And next time maybe I can get some people to harmonize with me. But we shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Thanks, everybody.
Called Eviction Representation for All. Yeah, if anybody else wants to speak, like I said, we are lining up speakers or performers or people over here. So if anybody feels like they have something to share, please fucking come do.
Thank you. Awesome. So yeah, as my comrade with Don't Evict kind of just told you, there's a lot of good work being done to prevent evictions. And that's something we're doing here. We have a coalition, the Eviction Representation for All campaign, with Don't Evict and DSA Housing and Sisters of the Road. And yeah, basically right now when someone gets served an eviction, you have to go to court and you're not provided a lawyer. You are in a criminal court, but not eviction court. And so what we're seeing is for every 15 cases, every 15 landlords, only one tenant is going to have a lawyer. Most people can't afford a lawyer. You go into court thinking you're going to be provided one, and you find out that you're not. And by that point, it's probably too late. It's pretty fucked up. And this is something that people are starting to realize. It's kind of should be a simple enough fix. Everybody should get representation. So that's what we're pushing for. We're putting together a ballot measure. We're doing it on our own. We're not working with the city council. We just don't trust them. We're doing this on our own. And we're writing our language. We're going to tax capital gains, and everybody's going to get a lawyer. Everybody's going to get to argue their case, and it's going to help. It's going to help a lot. So, yeah, thanks everyone. We need volunteers. We're going to be collecting signatures. It's going to be all summer. If you come out, you get one of these yellow hats for free. We'll hand it out to anyone who wants to help out. And yeah, well, we'll just help people out a little bit. So thank you.
Cool, y'all. And that's what I'm saying about getting organized. You know what I mean? Like, we have these needs, we have to change structures, and the only way things are going to get better is if we build the power to fucking change these structures, not just individually, but on a collective level. So fucking thank you. Cool. Is anybody else feeling compelled? Anybody else have any things they want to say? Yeah, Valerie, come on back up. What else you got?
I wanted to talk really quick about I can kind of see, there you go.
Grab it.
About how the police, there you go, how the police and upstanding citizens treat you when you're homeless. So when I was in San Francisco, there was this one officer in particular that my husband and I nicknamed Sergeant Abscess, because every time he would roll up on us, the first thing he would ask us is if we had any abscesses, because they wouldn't take you to jail then. And this one time he told us that if he had a vat of acid, he would drop us both in it and rid the world of us. This went on and on. He would come in the middle of the night with a garbage truck following his cop car, wake you up and tell you to start throwing your shit out. And one time after he chastised me for stealing shopping carts, he told the garbage men to grab the whole cart, throw it in the back of the truck, and they just squashed it into smithereens. So many times when I would just ask somebody what time it was, they would act like I was invisible, like they hadn't heard me. And that, I think, hurt worse than anything. I wasn't asking for money. I wanted to know what fucking time it was. And they treated me like I was a ghost. And so, if anything, I always try to, at least, if somebody asks me for anything, even if I don't have it, I will at least acknowledge their existence. Because everybody in the fucking world deserves to have their fucking presence acknowledged. And if you want to talk about who, is less deserving, it's somebody who treats a fucking human being who's down and out in their luck like they're less than a fucking dog. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Cool. Up next is a gentleman named Ahmed who's going to talk for a minute about family court justice and yeah.
Hello everybody. Thanks for coming. My situation or story is not related to what was gathering for, but I'm here to reach out to good people. And I know there's a lot of good people like you who will stand up for the right thing. Unfortunately, we have a situation where my kids are going through a hard time because of the mother abusing them and sex trafficking them, our kids. They are here with me. And the reason why we're going out to everyone, because it's been almost a year now, and the justice system, DHS, the court, the detective of Washington County, Chuck Anderson, and Judge Kelly Lamar in Washington County, they're really not listening to the children and their story. And CARE Northwest report, which is their government official assessment site, it says that the kids are being sex trafficked and the mother is dangerous to them. Judge Kelly Lamar, she did not care. she returned the kids back to the mother. August of last year, my son, Saladin, he's 10 years old. He was ordered back by Judge K. Lamar and Chuck Anderson. He was there to pick up the kids with their mother. He was burned. Hot water was poured on his legs because he spoke about men coming to the house and abusing them. I myself work as a caregiver. I spend some time out of my house and some nights. And when I'm away, this man that Nina, she knew, they come to the house and abuse the children, doing rituals and doing sex. Again, I don't want to take much of your time. This is a life of young, innocent kids that they have nothing to do with it. And I would like to invite Naima, my daughter, 13 years old. She wants her story to be heard. Please listen to her. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for your time. I would like to tell you about what I experienced during the investigation and what happened before that. All of this started when I was around 8, when everyone else was younger and we had just started elementary school. I noticed that some strange people were coming to the house and spending a lot of time with my mother. And then one day after that, she called me to her room. And it was around 1 at night when she called me. She told me to spend some time with this man that I have never met, and that she would be gone for a while. And while she was gone, that man raped me, and she has been gone for about an hour and a half from how I felt. And it was one of the most painful memories of my life. And after that, it happened more and more often. And then she started telling my siblings to come and do the same things that she was doing to me. And then it happened more and more often. More men were coming, and I noticed that she was getting money from all of this. So she was basically selling us to random people for money. And I was afraid of her because anytime we would disobey anything she would do, she would lock us outside of the house. She would take us and drop us off in the middle of nowhere. She would hit us. She would burn us. She would harm us in any way that would not be too obvious to anyone who might be looking. And when we moved to a new house, it happened more and more often, to the point where she started taking us to other people's houses. And in the start of last year, my brother spoke up. So after that, all of us were encouraged to speak up too. And when we spoke up, and we had many interviews, the DHS, CARES Northwest, they sent many people to interview us. We gave them the whole story. We may have forgotten some parts, and we updated these parts in the next interview. And we had attorneys, we had lawyers, but we changed them multiple times because they were all signing with our mother. They all wanted for us to go with her for switched custody. And the first few times the switched custody happened, all of us got hurt. For example, my brother, since he was the first to speak up and she knew about that, she burned him in front of all of us. She poured boiling hot water on his leg. And I'm certain that that burn would leave a scar for the rest of his life. I'm afraid because we refused to go for the remainder of, after that incident happened, all of us refused to go back to her. But earlier last month, the judge sent out a court order that would allow supervised visits. More specifically, this is where we would go to her house and stay there, and the supervisor would come every once in a while to just check up on what's going on. We of course refuse to go because we do not want to be with her. And if we do go with her, I feel like the judge and everyone else involved in the case would think, oh, they go with her 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It's fine for them to live with her since they can't find any evidence against her. But there's a lot of evidence, and I spoke to many people on the phone, and they said there was evidence. And CARES Northwest also said that we were abused and raped. And the judge refuses to see us or even talk to us. I don't know why. Maybe because she doesn't believe us. She doesn't believe that this would happen to us. I'm still confused on why she doesn't believe us. And recently, our abuser, my mother, took my 3 younger siblings, an 8-year-old sister, my 3-year-old brother, and she still has my infant 10-month-old sister with her. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your time.
Cool. So if y'all, cool. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Can I get a round of applause for her bravery as a survivor? That was really, really great to do. Cool. So if y'all want to help them out, this is Ahmed and his crew is over there. Cool. Cool. Does anybody have any thoughts or feelings they want to share? Any more thoughts on homelessness, or should I go ahead and close this out? Anybody who hasn't said anything yet? Anybody who wants to? Joe? Everybody give it up for Joe.
Hi. That was a really interesting, well, not interesting. That is a good segue into what I do for work. I am a preschool teacher, and I had a very interesting interaction with one of my kids yesterday that has really got me thinking about how important it is that we talk to our children about this issue in a serious and intelligent way, because your kids are really smart. Do any of you have kids? Little ones? Cool. The first time my first memory of houselessness, I'm from Great Lakes, I'm from the Chicagoland area. I don't know the exact time, but it is my parents telling me not to look at this houseless person on the corner. If you don't look at them, kind of like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, they'll just go away. Which is not true. Houseless visibility out there is a lot less. I just thought they weren't out there. No, it's just cold as fuck out there. And they're in the buildings, and they're, away. I eventually grew out of that, thank God. Started keeping cash in my car, started keeping clothes in the back of my car. Came out here, saw that it was a much larger issue, and now I am with little ones. And one of my kids came up to me the other day and said, Joe, actually, they call me Jorah. Jorah, I saw a homeless person the other day. I said, oh, cool. What? Cool. He said, yeah, I was with some friends and kept talking, blah, 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 blah. And they said we should hide and not look at them. And I was like, well, why would you do that? He said, I don't know. Well, right. You don't know. It's just a person, bud. And they are just people. We are all just people, and these little kids are just people, and if we can start with them when they're here, and let them know how serious this is, and how important we all need to be to each other, what we owe to each other, which is kindness, and generosity, and love, and respect, then they grow up with that, and it gets easier, and easier, and easier, and easier, and soon, they're caring and loving people who want to help and support each other, and they don't have to wait until they're 20 to realize that houseless people are normal. People who are down on their luck, who are victims of abuse, who are victims of drug addiction, who are victims of the police, the state, the country, the world. It starts down here. I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, the importance of starting young with revolutionary education. We start to internalize all these ideas as very small little humans, and we end up with all sorts of unexamined beliefs about the way the world's supposed to be. Does anybody have any thoughts they want to share? Cool, then I'll keep it real brief on behalf of the People's Housing Project. So everybody who doesn't know, my name is Brian Kim. I am one of the co-founders of the People's Housing Project. What we do is provide emergency shelters to houseless folks where they're at, and we combine that with support services like heating stations and weekly cleanings. We do that on public land, and the reason we do that on public land is because, one, it's all fucking stolen land, and two, because people deserve shelter, and if the city is not going to shelter people on public land, then where are they supposed to be, right? Like, we live in a fucking private property system where if you can't afford a house, you don't fucking get one, so you don't get access to private property. So if you don't have access to private property, you become a public person. And where are the members of the public supposed to go, if not on public fucking land? So that's why we put the shelters there, because it's about taking it back. And like, let's be clear here, like, this is part of a revolutionary strategy, right? And what I really want to talk about today is two things. Like, I want to echo the ancestors and talk about what that means, and then I want to like talk about revolution and power. So real quick, when we're talking about the ancestors, right? Like, I am somebody who comes from the revolutionary tradition. We all have our blood ancestors, but we all have our ideological ancestors. We are all the children of somebody's mind. We are all like following the ideas and ideologies of people who died a long time ago. So, and these are not just people that we're following blindly. These are people who had real practical advice for the fucking struggles that they were in. Like, racial and housing justice, like, this is not a new fight. Like, sex trafficking, this is not a new fucking fight, you know what I mean? Like, this has been going on for hundreds of years in this fucking colonial capitalist system, and we have so much that we can learn from our ancestors who fought back, whether they were black, brown, white, red, or yellow. Like, whether it was John Brown, whether it was the American Indian movement, whether it was the fucking Black Panthers and the Brown Berets and Cesar Chavez, like, oh, whether it was the labor union shutting down all of fucking Seattle in 1919 and the Teamster strike in 1934. Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, y'all. Like, look to the ancestors, animate the voices of the fucking dead, because they're there on YouTube. Like, you don't have to, I'm about to talk a lot about Kwame Ture, but you don't have to fucking take my word for it. Like, y'all can go on YouTube right now and watch fucking Kwame talk about these things, because he's alive there. So, with that being said, I just want to echo something that Kwame Ture talked about when he talks about revolution involving bloodshed. Okay, he says, anytime you're talking about revolution, making real change, you're talking about bloodshed. And either you're a violent revolutionary like Che and Lenin and Mao and the American Indian movement and the Black Panther Party, and you're willing to use violence to make the change, or you're a non-violent and you're willing to shed the oppressor's blood, or you're a non-violent revolutionary like Jesus and Gandhi and Martin Luther King, and that means you're willing to have your fucking blood shed for the cause. We're all standing here on the bloodshed of people who fucking fought for us, who struggled for us, who died for us, who gave their lives in this fucking struggle. And when we're talking about putting shelters on public land and technically trespassing, like, this is the difference between nonviolent and peaceful, okay? A peaceful protest goes the fuck home when the pigs tell you to. And a nonviolent protest says, we may not be willing to shoot guns back at you, but you're going to have to use force to remove us from here. We're going to use our bodies, and you're gonna have to use fucking force to get us out of here. So that's what we're doing up at this camp up in St. John's. We don't take any fucking corporate or government money. We have sheltered 15 people in 13 shelters over the last 6 fucking months on public land. Like, at some point, we're going to have to defy a sweep. We're going to have to fight with these pigs, and we're going to have to force recognition. And like, we don't have to wait. Like, there is no party coming to save us. Like, Fidel Castro's not gonna land with 80 dudes on a boat. Like, the next Huey Newton's not just gonna fucking show up here and tell us all what to do. Like, Lenin's not coming, Jesus is not coming, MLK is not coming. We have to fucking save ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
So, oh man, I don't even know what quote I want to fucking end on. I guess I will end by quoting fucking Fred Hampton when he said, if you dare to struggle, you dare to win. And if you dare not to struggle, then goddamn it, you don't deserve to win. Let me say, peace be with you if you're willing to fight for it. Cool. So with that, fucking thank you all for coming out. I want to thank everybody who spoke. I want to thank, can we give a huge round of applause for our interpreter here, like, who has been killing it for the last fucking hour and a half. And thank you for helping us make this successful and wonderful. Man, I don't have anything else to say. It has been a long month. Death to fascism, fucking power to the people. Get organized, join an organization. It doesn't have to fucking be mine. Join one, get organized. Oh, I fucking love you all. Go watch fucking Kwame Ture and Huey Newton on YouTube, y'all. Jesus.